Everybody, it's Pep. You're watching The Sentinel. Today I have a little bit of negative energy that I need to get out of my system, and what I'm going to do is talk about some fragrances that are loved by many people, or at the very least liked by many people, that I do not like anymore. So I'm not going to sit here and trash these fragrances, but I thought it would be an interesting exercise, I guess, to run through a few of them to just illustrate how different everybody's tastes are, how individual everybody's tastes are. A few of these fragrances I used to own bottles of, I used to initially like, I grew to dislike them, and I got rid of them. Some of these fragrances I just did not like from the start when I sampled them, and so it's I need to get this out. I'll put a video out, and just so people can say that I don't only do positive reviews. I mean, I mainly do positive reviews because I'm talking about fragrances in my collection. I haven't had a lot of opportunity to test fragrances that have been sent to me for review, and the ones I have I've generally honestly liked, but here are a few that I don't like anymore, or I never did like. This is going to be off the top of my head because obviously I don't have the fragrances here with me to sniff again, and I'll try and describe what it was that didn't agree with me. So the first fragrance I got a small sample of quite a while ago, was from the house of Sospiro, and this is Erba Pura. So the reason that I initially got a sample of this was, from what I'd read and what I'd heard, this was supposed to be in the same vein as Pulp by Baccarat, which I really like. Now, it wasn't supposed to be exactly the same, but from what I understood, there were the notes and the chords were supposed to be along the same vein. And when I wore this, I persisted with this for about 3 wears, but each time this was probably the one fragrance that was actually making me feel ill on my smelling on my skin. It just became this very heavy floral, it wasn't even a fresh floral, it was like this plasticky, doughy floral, and it almost smelled like a plastic bouquet on my skin. And yeah, it was one of the only fragrances that really I felt like I had to wash off, or I would start to feel physically ill. So that was Erba Pura by Sospiro. It's got its fans. It's a very expensive fragrance, has some positive reviews on YouTube, just not for me. The next fragrance that I didn't like from first wear, I persisted. I did try this a couple of times from a small sample. Again, it's a recent release, and I just want to say that my very dear friend Kristen from the channel Beauty Meow really likes this fragrance, and normally we have very similar tastes, but this one we just disagree. I guess we have to disagree on, and I absolutely respect her nose and her taste. It's just this one did not work for me, and it's from the Portraits range from Penhaligons. This one was The Tragedy of Lord George. I was quite excited to try this because it had a brandy opening, and I do like boozy scents, and when I sprayed this on, I got that brandy for literally a few seconds on my skin, and it evaporated, and then it became just this very, to my nose, I hate using the word generic, but it kind of started to smell like a combination of all these, you know, average designer scent sprayed onto my skin all at once. It kind of just felt like it had all those same notes, and it was put together like a colour by numbers painting. Again, it's what I was smelling on my skin, so I don't know how much skin chemistry can be accountable for this kind of reaction, but that one there I won't be revisiting. So it's Portraits, The Tragedy of Lord George by Penhaligons. The next couple of fragrances I owned bottles of, and I no longer own them because I initially did like them. Just over time, and maybe this is more a consequence of my tastes expanding and me starting to like other types of fragrances, that these just were really becoming tiresome when I was wearing them. First one is Paco Rabanne's Invictus. I genuinely liked this when I bought a bottle of it. I wore it several times, but each time, and as I was expanding my collection of fragrances, each time I was less and less impressed by this fragrance. It was starting to become a bit too sweet. You know, I was starting to really notice that bubblegummy accord, that artificial smell. And by the end, I couldn't wear it anymore. It just felt, compared to a lot of my other fragrances, like a really unnatural thing to spray onto my skin. Now, the thing about Invictus is that since I got rid of it from my collection, I have smelled it on other guys, and I didn't realize it was Invictus, but on other guys this smelled amazing. And at one point I was at a party and I smelled this fragrance that this guy was wearing, and I had to ask him what it was because it smelled great on him, and he said it was Invictus. And I know as soon as he said it, I recognized it, but this is a different fragrance on my skin, and obviously my nose is interpreting it differently on other people's skin. So that was Paco Rabanne's Invictus. I need to say I haven't tried any of the other flankers like Invictus Intense or Invictus Aqua, and I have no desire to. The next fragrance that I only very recently got rid of, that I grew to dislike as well. I mean, this is a soft dislike, you know, I don't hate it, but I found, much like Invictus, I couldn't bring myself to wear it anymore, just because of its, mainly because of its sweetness, and that's Mont Blanc's Individuel. And again, because of the comparisons it has with Original Santal by Creed and Jupom. I mean, I've smelt both of those, but I don't think I'd be approaching any of those anytime soon, just because for me this one here is a true case of my tastes evolving, and it's not something I was looking to wear much anymore. And in the end I ended up giving the bottle away, and you know, that's great if someone else is enjoying it like all the other fragrances. Again, I'm going to reiterate, this is my taste, this is what I don't like, and it's not a reflection on the taste of people who do enjoy those fragrances. So please, I'm not doing this to get anyone upset, apart from maybe Paco Rabanne and Mont Blanc, but that I also recently got rid of was Viktor and Rolf's Spicebomb. The reason I ended up getting rid of this one was a few factors. It started to become a bit sweet on me. I also recently acquired a fragrance from Histoire de Parfum, which is called 1899 Ernest Hemingway, and it has a lot of the nice facets of Spicebomb, but just to me done a whole lot better, smells a whole lot more natural, and the performance is heaps better. I got a late year version of Spicebomb. I'm told that earlier years are great performers, but my particular bottle of Spicebomb did not last more than a couple of hours, and the smell was a bit too artificial for me as well. So again, I don't think I'll be revisiting Spicebomb, and you know, if anything's going to get reformulated and doesn't end up performing, that's going to end up being a strike for me, and I'll either get rid of the bottle or won't buy it again. So I do have one more fragrance that I sampled from a small sample. This is a very popular fragrance. It's much loved, it's much hyped, but when I wore this, I really didn't get it. On my skin, this felt like an incomplete fragrance. It felt like a hollow fragrance, and maybe that's what the point of it was. But there was also an accord there. When I look at the note listing, there is this note of fir balsam, and I think that's what it is, but it just turned very sour on my skin. And I'm talking about Maison Francis Kurkdjian's Baccarat Rouge 540. I know a lot of people love this. On my skin, this is a stinker, and I almost needed to scrub it off, except for the fact that it didn't last very long either. So again, let's put it down to skin chemistry, what my nose picks up on my skin, but I won't be revisiting the Eau de Parfum version again. I didn't try the Extrait de Parfum. Some people say it smells a bit different, but to me, Baccarat Rouge 540 is really a case of what is all the hype about, but it obviously works on other people. It doesn't work on me. So I hope that you found that interesting. I feel better for letting that all out, but I do want to hear about examples of fragrances that are popular that you just do not like. They could be ones I love. So please let me know in the comments. Again, this video is not meant with any malice or ill intention. Just again trying to illustrate that everybody's tastes, nose and skin is different. Not that you didn't know that, but it's impossible to have one universally loved fragrance unless its name is Invictus. No, only joking. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you next time.